Welcome back to the Depleted Key podcast. This is episode 6. Today is March 8th, 2021. I'm Tarithal, and join with me is Spoogy.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, we're doing okay today. I think we're both kind of low energy, so hopefully we make it through here today.
Yeah, it's been a tough week so far, and it's only Monday.
I know. Yeah, I think I worked 13 hours today, and you got a sick kid that's probably getting you sick, and so we're kind of holding on here, but
draining a little bit, but we'll get through it.
Yep.
So, tell me about your week. How was it?
Really good week. So I did a ton of Mythic Plus this week. Like, I think I doubled the amount of 15 plus dungeons I had. I went from 1300 IO up to 1522 this week. And
okay, so you got some numbers there.
Yeah, we got some big numbers. Like, the expectation was probably to get a couple 17s down.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked some guys into the guild. We downed to 17 spires, I think it was. And it turned into a Theater of Pain 18. And, like, no one thought we were going to do that, right? And we ended up timing it. So our 18 turned into a 19 mist. And of course,
that's nice.
Yeah, of course it's a mist, right? So we had to do that. We ended up timing that too. So that turned into a 20 Sanguine Depths, though. So
oh my goodness, I just literally got out of a Sanguine Depths.
Yeah.
Mine was a 15 though, but
welcome to pain.
Yeah,
Nothing but pain.
I actually did something different for once. I went boomkin.
Yeah.
So somebody else could heal, and I was a little rusty at first. Kind of found my stride a little bit later on, but man, the treants on that gauntlet, are a game changer, and that's what everybody was worried about. They were like, "Oh, we don't want to do this. The gauntlet." And I'm like, "Guys, we got this."
Yeah, the gauntlet's nice.
Like the gauntlet went perfect, right? I mean, we had a little scuff here and there, but I mean, as far as like how bad they were treading it, we nailed it, right? The treants did their thing. We had a shaman pop in the earth elemental as well.
Yeah, that's like the ideal comp, right? To get a couple trees and the elemental and cyclone and all that kind of stuff. It's
a bear tank, and you know they're just tanky as crap, anyways. And we had a marksman hunter, who has just like 1900 IO. His dude's really beastly, and then you had the boomkin doing AOE, and then we had a death knight. Our AOE.
Who does that guy run with? That hunter?
He pugs it.
Really?
Literally pugs it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, which is impressive considering he's a DPS, and you know. But here's the trick to IO. You got to jump on it early.
Yeah.
And if you get on it early, you can get in groups, because you know when nobody had IO, you can get invited, and then you're beating everybody else in IO, and that's pretty much all anybody looks at, right? I think Preach did a experiment where he took two characters with like a 5 item level difference, like a 220 versus like a 215,
right?
And he dropped like $1 million gold on their gear just to get them to do this experiment, because the 220 guy had no IO, and the 215 had just tons of it, because it had been this guy's main or one of his friend's mains or something. And they would pass up the 220 to pick up the 215 in this experiment because he had IO. So it's just one of the things. You get on it early, man, you're kind of good. You're good to roll.
Yeah, and we were kind of like that, right? Like when we first started the expansion, like we did a 10 the first week, which isn't remarkable, but I mean, for the first week, that's pretty good, right?
And yeah, I was proud of that. And so,
I was thinking about lights. It was week 1 or week 2. I remember us rolling up to a dungeon, and we're looking for a random pug. I remember him going 800 IO. Like, what's this guy been doing? Like he was like amazed that someone had 800 IO, and that's like an afterthought now, you know?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't invite that these days.
No, you're like, wow, that guy doesn't even do M+ now.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it is you just gotta slam some keys. You know, you got to be doing a lot of keys, because that makes a big difference. And I feel like kind of like our inner group kind of reached a lot of our achievements that we wanted to reach, and then we kind of gave out of gas and trying to keep going here and there.
Yeah, we kind of had different goals too, right? Like I think we wanted to raid on different nights, and once that happened, essentially that put us on different schedules, and we just kind of didn't really continue to do the M+, which right now, I mean, this week I had a blast, man. I mean, just trying to do those high keys is super fun, and just especially as a tank, literally, trying to figure out which ads are going to one shot you and which ones, aren't. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing too. The stuff that you don't think about in lower keys, like in Mist, for example. There's a Fox ad during the maze that does like this bite ability. That thing hits for like 30 plus K in a 19. Like that'll literally almost one shot a DPS. And like it's something you don't even think about, in the lower key.
And I saw that particular Fox when I ran. I did a 15 miss tonight.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there laughing at it because the hunter, who's got the 1900 IO, was like warning everybody about this Fox, and everybody's just ignoring it because it's a 15.
Yeah.
And because he's seen it, man, he's seen that Fox and he knows what it does. And like you had literally just talked about this like yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there kind of giggling about it.
I think it'll give you PTSD. Like if you're running bigwigs too, it flashes your screen blue. I don't know if you use that or not, or DBM, but
bigwigs.
You do, yeah. So from like Sire, when the puddle is about to come down, it like strobes at you. It does that. It does that for the Fox, which is really funny. And it's like it's like the extra warning is like be extra careful about this mob because you're about to get one shot. So
and it helps. It definitely does help. I've been actually using big wigs and little wigs for probably about halfway through Castle Nathria. I swapped over from DBM because the timers were kind of making me mad on Artificer.
Yeah,
and they seemed a little bit more accurate with big wigs, and I really haven't looked back.
They're a little screwy, and it's not bigwig's fault. It's a spell queuing in the dungeons and the raids, and there's just a lot of raid bosses that if you pass a certain threshold of health, the like kind of the order of the abilities get shuffled around. And it's kind of frustrating on some of the fights. Like right now specifically, we're working on Lady Darkvein. And so in the mythic version of it, what you try to do is you try to essentially preemptively pop your immunities. And if she picks you to spawn an ad on top of it and you're immune, the ad just doesn't spawn. But what happens is if you get her under 75%, so if you get her to 74% by like 45 seconds into the fight, then it just like everything gets shuffled, so all the timers get mixed around. And there's different weak auras and stuff to track it, but at the same time, like you can't really predict when the next ad's going to come out if you pass that threshold, because it could be a minute later, it could be 15 seconds later. And
that's pretty frustrating.
No, it's fine, but it's like our DPS is high enough where we get that threshold, so it's kind of random when we get the first set of ads, and then we just have to figure it out from there. But yeah, Bigwigs is a little off there.
Suffering from success,
Well, kind of. Yeah, we haven't killed it yet. But.
Yeah, but y'all are on it. That's pretty good. That means you killed, everything prior to that, which is good. You got hunger down.
Yeah, we re-cleared it. I don't know. People are talking about like the raid nerfs as if they're going to come out in 9.0.5, but I think they're already out. I don't know if you know that for a fact or not.
I don't know, but sometimes they do that, and it's just pretty much documentation when they do the notes for 9.05.
Yeah, like Hunger this week felt super easy, but we were also trialing a second Disc Priest, and having 2 Disc Priests on that fight specifically is really broken.
I want to say I read that Hunger was supposed to happen this week, and not 9.05. I was not even tracking that for now. I thought that was just happening this week.
Yeah, I think it did, and I don't know. It felt really easy this week. We didn't one-shot it, but I think it took like 2 or 3 attempts, and then we spent probably an hour on Lady, and then we came back on Thursday and put a good full raid night into it. So
what I am tracking here is they finally finished the Alliance Hall of Fame, right? What is at the top? Is it 100 or 10?
Yeah, it's once 100 guilds clear.
Yeah, so the Alliance one filled up. So what happened is that a lot of those came through, and then this coming Tuesday, they're going to open up Cross Realm Mythic.
Right.
It's going to be pretty cool, which is we're actually going to start it ourselves. We haven't had any luck just recruiting or anything like that, so we're just going to try to go in and get some of those early boss kills.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys doing Tuesday, Thursday, or are you doing Wednesday, Friday?
Wednesday, Friday.
I might be able to come in there and help you guys a little bit if you need it.
They'll take you. Yeah, they'll take you. They like you. So
Yeah, the my guild currently is doing a 3 healer Zerg strat on Lady, which brings
mhm.
in my monk. So I actually end up getting 2 of my characters saved to the same raid ID, which is a little annoying, but yeah, like I don't really care because I only do one raid a week, right? But
Right.
that kind of limits my characters down to the demon hunter, if you guys do want any help. But
Gotcha. Yeah, they we've had trouble getting 20 bodies.
yeah.
We've been kind of putting around the past couple weeks, doing heroics, letting people kind of swap to different characters and get them
Hmm.
some gear. Uh, let some of the other people in the guild that really aren't that good or don't raid normally, it's not really their thing,
Hmm.
get some experience. And we've even substituted some RBGs in,
Yeah.
which was an absolute blast. But yeah, we're finally going to get to it this week, so we're kind of looking forward to that. That's going to be our big push. I'm hoping to at least get 2 down this week.
Yeah, that should be doable. Is Ark your raid leader now, or is it still I forget his name, the warlock?
It's still Gralik,
Growlithe,
the
yeah, that's right.
warlock.
That's right.
Yeah, he no. So what happened this week was they were like, all right, core group, we're just going to do a heroic clear again, and we got in there and they brought in a whole bunch of guildies that really, really, really underperform. Um, Not really raiders,
Okay.
and so it was just a hassle. We also did the skip, so we did Shriekwing,
Hmm. Hmm.
Sludge
Hmm.
Fists, Generals, and then we got to Sire, and it was just kind of bashing our heads, and we kind of only had one raid night this week, anyways. And so, I think Sunday we went back. A few of us that were online, and we just kind of pugged heroic, and we
Right.
brought you in actually,
Yeah.
and got another kill on that there.
That kill was so frustrating. I was literally like, there was that fire mage that was pumping pretty hard, and I think I was first or second place in pretty much every single attempt. And finally, the attempt that we killed it, I died to the freaking massacre. And I think I was trying to like min max my touch of karma, and I think I hit 2 of the massacres at once. Because that's essentially what we were doing, right? We had a bunch of huge DPS in there. And so it was just kind of like a parse fest, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it was nothing but AOTC.
yeah, but I was so mad about that. Like, I literally just sat there for half the fight. And of course, that's the one attempt where, we actually kill it. So it was kind of whatever. But at the same time, it's like, come on. Like,
It was kind of funny because I saw you drop dead, and I was like, I'm going to wait. I probably shouldn't battle res. Let me just hold on to it because we're getting to the phase 3 every single attempt, and
mm-hmm.
the tanks. Ark was tanking, and he has never tanked that fight at all. So to his
Yeah.
credit, he was doing pretty dang good, but he was getting knocked off pretty regularly. So I'm like, just in case, let me just save it. And then we immediately swapped to the other, through the mirror and left you behind. And
Yeah.
there was no getting you after that anyway. So
I've never actually tanked that fight, but pretty much every time I see a first time tank in there, they always fall off the edge. I don't know what it is. Like, I can't really say anything about that because I've never tanked it. Actually, that's not true. I did tank it on normal, like when the raid first came out, back when I was like only playing my demon hunter. So I did take it normal, but I've never actually tanked the heroic version of it.
I think it's the knockback ability, right? That they're getting gibbed by.
Half the tanks die to that in phase 3, and half the tanks die to the ads dying, and then like the purple, or not the purple, the red orbs coming down, which knock people around. But I see fewer tanks die to that now that changed the animation of it. So
yeah, the animation on it is actually pretty dang good. It puts down it's very noticeable, but the one that is directly under your feet was still the same color. I noticed. So
okay, yeah.
And so we had it was kind of funny. We had a raider who is colorblind
Oh really?
playing a monk, and it was loud, and he could
Oh
not
okay.
see it at all, and he was getting so frustrated, and he wanted to swap over to a mage, and
Yeah.
he did swap to a mage for a little bit, but I was like, dude, I mean, the swirlies are going to be out there in range as well, but
Dude,
yeah, he couldn't see him at all.
dude, Lady is terrible. I don't know if you even like just watch a video after this podcast on Lady. There's a tank mechanic that's red. The orbs are red. Like the ads are red. There's a new tank mechanic. So there's like these ads that you have to face. They're red. Just the pools on the ground that when you pick up a bottle, right? When you soak a bottle, it leaves like a spot on the ground. That's red. There's like 7 different red mechanics in the fight. After a while, you can't see anything, dude. Like, just everything is red. It's awful.
I mean, yeah, it goes with the whole Revendreth theme of the red anima, the pride, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, horrible for that guy. I feel for him. I'm glad they changed that, and hasn't been knocked off a single time that I've rated with him since they made that change. So
That's good.
it definitely helped out. But yeah, we got Sire down again this week.
Yep.
Going into Mythic ourselves.
Yep.
Tomorrow. Wait, Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
That's how long this week has been.
I know.
It's just Monday. I'm already thinking that I'm halfway through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're putting 2 full days into it this week. We're actually doing 2 raid days instead of the 1, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you find the people. I'm sure you will. I mean, being able to pug it, in Raid Finder, that'll be huge. And I mean, you guys make up at least 10 people. How many?
Yeah, we make up. We got a good solid about 10. And it was kind of funny just how the entire expansion worked out. With us ending up in different guilds and different raids.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually been kind of rewarding. We met some pretty cool people that we've started to gel with a little bit, and I've been running keys with them a little bit this week. I think you and I only got 2. Actually, we got about 3 key syncs. I did do 1 or 2
together.
At the Hunter.
Yeah, together. I was gonna say, I think I ran about 25 keys this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got I think I healed you on 2, and I think I did 2 on the Hunter. So I guess I did 4 with you.
Yeah.
And you did talk about wanting to try to use those plague boars.
Yeah.
And plague fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, I was pretty impressed how well they worked.
Yeah.
But we also, what the funny part is, so here's the story. We went into a 14 plague fall. 14, we figured that's when we're going to try all the crazy stuff and do it all. Tank had no idea what was going on, so you were basically teaching him on the fly what the game plan was.
Who was it? Fire tanking?
Yeah, it was fire on his monk.
He knows the polls. So after the Plague Board Gauntlet, I was throwing some new mechanics in there and just trying to communicate how to skip past that and then do the area down below exactly how I wanted to do it,
Yeah,
which it's probably a bad trait of mine. I kind of like keysplain because I do a lot of tanking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he was trying to please me, but no, he knows most of the polls.
You just coined a new word, keysplain.
Yeah, well, I think that's accurate though, right?
I like it. That's kind of funny.
Or route splain. I don't know what you want to call it.
Keysplain sounds better.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry.
We scuffed that key so freaking bad. like that, and then we still timed it, which was the absolute hilarious thing because that was the most scuffed up. From that, I mean, he did beautiful all the way to that point, and not on him by any means because we were trying crazy things. You're monkeying around the room, grabbing ads and stuff and pulling them back.
Yeah, I was grabbing it for him, which I'm sure he didn't appreciate, but
yeah, so it was just craziness across the board. And it was what could go wrong did go wrong, but somehow we still timed the key. It was absolutely hilarious.
Well, the thing is, he does all the high keys with me, right? So the 17s, 18, 19s. He does all those with me, but he does it from a mage perspective, and I do it from a tank perspective. Yeah, so it was more we were just using that run specifically just to kind of explain the strategy for higher keys, right? And so we were taking our time, kind of targeting things and putting world markers down or whatever, just kind of explaining how the polls go in higher keys. And so we were burning a ton of time, right, doing that. But once you skip the doctor at the end of the plague boar, there's some specific things you have to do, right? Because the plague boar is spawned at the top of the stairs, and so you have to pull the ads back and then kind of in the middle of the stairs, right? And that's not real intuitive because if you've never done that before, you don't know where the plague boar is spawned, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, that's just kind of, that was the reason why we did that. But yeah, that dungeon was kind of funny. And we're bringing a new, well, not a new guildie, but a guy that took a really long break. We brought him in as well.
Was that the DK?
Yeah. He was there. He was raiding when I was first raiding with this guild, and then he took a really long break for whatever reason, and looks like he's back. So
Started tomorrow this expansion or tomorrow when you raided back in the day with them?
Oh no, yeah, the beginning of this expansion.
Okay, gotcha,
Yep.
gotcha.
But
No, and I also saw my first warrior tank. We did
yeah,
the other side
yeah,
15 with you and your buddy who was in a warrior tank,
yeah,
fire, and I think we had a boomkin.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's the guy who can need a KSM.
Yep.
Um, and that is actually like the fifth run I've been in with somebody needing the other side 15 for a KSM.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we
It's
actually,
always the other side or Plaguefall. It's always those two. It's never anything else. It's always those two. Or I guess Sanguine. Sanguine sometimes in there, but it's always like those two or three.
yeah, and we ended up getting it for him, and it was really cool. I learned a new thing that I could stay up on the platform before the Ardenweald boss,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
the artificer guy down there, and I could stay up top. I did not know that. That was a cool little trick you guys taught me there.
Yeah,
Which,
I'm learning a lot of new tricks like that, and it's kind of funny because I watch streamers do really high keys, and half the time while I'm watching their stream, they're watching other streamers do really high keys, and so it's like just this constant like feed of like streamers watching streamers, and people learning from streamers watching streamers do high keys, and like all these strategies are getting passed around, right?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of a new thing that people have been doing. Like so before the third boss in the Ardenweald wing of the other side, you can actually stay up on the ledge, like have one person stay up on the ledge. And usually it's like a good idea to have your healer, right? So they don't have to do anything. And they get to ignore literally 100% of the mechanics. They don't have to step anything in anything. They don't have to pass lightning around really. Like they don't have to do anything.
You have to avoid your own trap. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I did have those little beams that pop out just like the artificer fight.
Yeah.
I had one pop up on me up there that I had to dodge, but other than that, it was just heal.
Yep.
And everybody else would pass around
The lightning, yeah.
the lightning, which I should say before anybody goes out and tries that, the mage stayed up top with me just in case I got targeted first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lightning, so I could pass off to him, and then he could take it down below. You don't want to be up there by yourself, and then
Yeah.
have to jump down anyways, and it's just for nothing.
Yeah,
But
Fire and I had a bad experience, so you got the second time we tried that.
I got the benefit of the lesson learned.
Yeah, the first time we did it, we killed the boss, but I think it was me and someone else. I think it was a boomkin. I think the two of us just literally passed the lightning back and forth the entire time, and I think we might have died after the boss died at the end or something. It was something weird, but yeah, we learned one person should stay up top with like the healer, right, and make sure the lightning gets applied to someone down below before they jump down, or else the healer will have a bad time up top. So
I also had I was running with the Canadians tonight,
mm-hmm.
and it came down to we're going to do one more key before the podcast, and
yeah,
I had a plague fall and they had a sanguine. And everybody was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to do the sanguine." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Guys, you won't KSM. This is the week to get that sanguine done."
Yeah.
And so I ended up talking them into it, and that's so why we ended up in there instead of an easier key. But
I actually think that dungeon is, depending on the week, I think that dungeon is almost easier on Tyrannical some weeks because the mobs themselves do a lot of damage. Like there's a curse that goes out on a lot of them that hit random people, and if you're not dispelling it, like your people just die on fortified weeks. And as long as you do the boss mechanics correctly, then it's, I don't know. On Tyrannical weeks, I think anything like under an 18 in there is probably very doable.
yeah, I was seeing things I didn't notice as a healer.
Yeah.
I was decreasing myself. I'm like, what is it? Well, what is this? I don't see this as a healer. But no, we scuffed it before we got to the gauntlet. The gauntlet ended up being much smoother, and that's what they were all worried about, right?
Right.
But no, I even messed up one time on the last boss before the gauntlet that drops the orbs. You pick them up. The more you pick up, the more the less damage you take from the next explosion ability.
Yeah.
Little swirlies on the ground, right?
Yep.
Step out of the swirlies. I have a compulsion to jump around while I'm DPSing, and it's just DPS, not healing, not tanking.
Yeah.
And so I was jumping out of my swirlies, doing my little thing, and I ended up next to the hunter, and we both got covered with a swirly, and I was already mid-air. jumping out of my swirly, and I landed in his. And by the time I'm trying to jump out of that one again, I got hit. So I got one shot, and they ended up four-manning the boss.
I think as the key level goes up, I think that boss kind of overtakes the rest of them in difficulty because it does like a pulsing AoE damage right during that phase as well. And
Yeah,
it just becomes ridiculous how much damage that does. Like you have to just constantly move to make sure you don't get hit by anything else. And then the
which is
tank
really
buster
hard.
mechanic, yeah, the iron spikes, that freaking chunks, man.
Yeah, yeah. We had a bear tank. It was a Drexy on our
Okay.
bear,
Okay.
and so the bear handles that really, really, really well.
Uh-huh.
But you also have a really stupid boomkin bouncing around the room. Yeah, I hit Convoke, and we had I don't know if we had Pride or something, but I was just taking off on the DPS meters, and then I'm all happy, doing my little rotation and one shot like an idiot. But that actually didn't wipe us. We actually killed it. The boss right before that, we wiped. The little red orbs go around the room different ways. I forget his name. Tolvagar, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
We all blew our cooldowns right off the bat.
Yeah,
beat
that's a
the crap
mistake.
out of the boss. Oh yeah,
Yep.
and like I didn't even think about it. I was like in the zone, just kind of doing my thing, and I immediately remembered like everything that we had learned running like the 15 to 16.
The bolstering, what was it,
Yeah,
necrotic, tyrannical
tyrannical.
week? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh wait, I already learned this lesson. We shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And so the next go around, I blew my cooldown on one ad, and somebody else blew theirs on the other one, and we barely got by that one. It was close. I think we still had the DK Arc was dead at the end of that one.
You had a pretty funny comp there because, like, I know people listening to this won't understand who these people are, but he's essentially talking about everyone in their group playing an off roll. So it sounds like you had your healer tanking, you're a healer, you're playing a boomkin. I assume the shaman was a growler, right?
Yeah.
So he's an actual healer, but yeah, that's funny. A bunch of people playing off rolls.
I will say he's a new healer because he was a monk, then a mage, and now a shaman.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was, a full healer this entire expansion. So I'll still put him in that category a little bit.
He did pretty well in the raid on what was that, Saturday or Sunday? I thought he did just fine.
Oh, he's doing great.
Yeah.
His gear, I think, is still under 210.
Yeah,
which could be a little rough.
He did really well.
Oh yeah, he was tearing it up. He will probably eventually overtake me and Drexy.
Yeah, well, you're getting buffed tomorrow, so
we are getting buffed. So I'm kind of curious, but as of like right now,
yeah,
everything on the table, they just have more throughput. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to play. I mean, I'm not going to go down without a fight, neither will Drexy, but we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to make our entire raid stronger.
Yeah,
because, shamans have so much great utility.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? SLT is just such a good ability, but was that priest from the raid yours as well, or was that a random?
That was a rando healer.
Okay, I was kind of wondering because that was a holy priest. I'm like, if that was a disc priest, you guys would actually have a pretty nutty heal count.
Yeah, it was just some rando we found, and yeah, that guy did pretty good too.
Yeah, well, I think holy is underrated, and I'm actually tomorrow, I'm gonna get my holy legendary, which I'm pretty excited about, and I might actually start playing holy a bit more.
I used to love holy back in the day. The end of BC, and then all the Wrath. I loved holy.
Yeah.
Then again, you also had some pretty wacky discipline back then. Penance was so good, and you had the bubble for discipline. Priest was reflective.
Okay.
And so you could go into arenas and you could put the bubble on yourself, and rogues would kill themselves.
Well, I think there's a PvP talent that's kind of like that. I could be wrong on that, but I think there is one that I know there's one that reduces damage. There might also be like a thorns based one. I don't think it's very strong, but the
one back then was pretty dang strong, and it was great. Because I remember Lights recently played Backseat the priest back then, and he could 1v2 dudes in the arena. Jimmy would die, and he would 1v2 him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really miss holy and shaman. They don't really use chain heal anymore, which to me was like their defining spell, and it looks so freaking cool. The animation,
Mhm.
they put a lot of work into it, and it's just like, don't use it now. That kind of made me sad when I realized that.
Yeah, I've kind of been thinking about leveling another character, and I don't know what I want to make, dude. I want to make a bear tank, and I think my monk is going to end up being a brewmaster because tomorrow I'm 95% sure you'll never see a monk in your raid again after tomorrow. Like I think they're going to be awful.
So explain that a little bit.
So it's kind of well, it's not really that complicated. It might just be complicated for me to explain it, but essentially, right now, what you do with monks is that you go weapons of order, which when you use an ability while weapons of order is active, it reduces the cooldown of your Fist of Fury and your Rising Sun kick by 1 second.
Okay.
Specifically, it's your blackout kick. So
Okay.
essentially, you weave a blackout kick in between each ability. And while that's happening, if you have your clones out and you cast Fist of Fury and then immediately cancel Fist of Fury, your clones will continue to cast Fist of Fury, and you get about 90% effectiveness out of the actual cast. And Fist of Fury actually hits really hard, but it's the fact that you get 90% effectiveness out of your Fist of Fury, and you're able to cast other things on top of that, because your clones will cast Fist of Fury and your other abilities on top of that. So you get like a full fist, like a 90% Fist of Fury, plus like an additional Rising Sun Kick, which is your hardest hitting ability. You just get a lot of damage output from that. And so what they're doing tomorrow is they're fixing the clones so that they're no longer able to cancel Fist of Fury, or so that you aren't able to cancel Fist of Fury.
If you cancel, do they cancel as well?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so that does two things, right? So Fist of Fury is a lot of damage. And so we're torn as monks in between having to hard cast Fist of Fury versus canceling it now. And if you end up casting Fist of Fury, you're not utilizing your weapons of order anymore. And there's not an alternative to it, right? Because what I said was, when you cast weapons of order, you're wanting to weave those other abilities in to reduce the cooldown of everything else. And when you're not able to just when you have to hard cast Fist of Fury, you can't take advantage of your weapons of order. And so either we're going to have to cancel Fist of Fury and not get the damage from it, or we're going to have to hard cast Fist of Fury, which means weapons of order isn't going to be utilized. And so there's not really an alternative to it. And so they did the simulations on it already, and it looks like, if you just play everything as normal right now going forward, you're going to lose about 7% of your damage.
Okay. Well, that's a little unfortunate that they did that.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually getting buffed on this one, so you're getting the nerf.
Well, I'm getting screwed out of like all of my characters. Like Disc Priests are getting nerfed, monks are getting nerfed, and then they're nerfing Elysian Decree. But I'm not too salty about the Demon Hunter. I think that's an okay change. And then on top of that, they're changing Fell Defender. So now it's going to have a conduit, and there's going to be a legendary associated with it that gives it a 40% chance not to go on cooldown and to not use your Fury. So I think I'm going to roll with that and just become much, much tankier. I think I'm going to lose a little bit of overall damage, but I'm going to become much more tankier.
But that'd be good, though. I think overall. I mean, yeah, you do lose the damage, but in my arena, my biggest gripe for a Resto Druid is you don't have as much of the utility as some of the other classes.
Right.
And then they also have more throughput. So, like on paper, you think, all right, so this guy should be doing more throughput to make up for that.
Right.
Excuse me. And so I'm hoping, I'm kind of curious what this is going to be. I haven't done any research on how much it's going to change the game, but we'll see. It's pretty hefty. It's like 12% on Rejuve.
Yeah, it doesn't change the playstyle though, right?
No, nothing changes the playstyle. It's just literally numbers.
Yeah. See, that's the thing I'm most salty about with the monk. I would have been okay with just like a numbers, nerf, but the change they're making rather is actually going to change the playstyle. So that's really frustrating. And like no one really knows what the new playstyle is going to be. And I think any combination of new playstyles is going to perform worse than what we have now. So
it's basically the opposite of a quality of life change there.
Yeah, and like I don't know who even like made the decision to do that. Like I think it was technically a bug, and so they just want to fix the bug. but we're not really like getting anything to compensate. So I think Windwalker's dead. I think people will go Brewmaster for the buff, and you just won't see Windwalkers anymore. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Also, they're fixing they're screwing over our AOE as well. So yeah, not happy about that. But
so you want to level a bear next? Is that the
oh
thing?
yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's where the conversation started. So I was thinking about maybe leveling a bear because they look fun, or maybe even like a holy paladin, just because they do a ton of damage.
I gotta admit, it's Drixie's making it look so fun that I've kind of had that tanking itch a little bit,
Yeah.
and I've been thinking about the thing is you got to get a weapon, you got to get some trinkets. None of my gear is really itemized for tanking too well, but it wouldn't be the worst thing. I think I've got like a 207 weapon I picked up somewhere along the way,
Oh, okay.
but
I'll tell you what, we have a boomkin in guild, and he's actually our GM right now. Yeah, he tanked for me last week. He tanked a dealer size 16, and he's a boomkin. And he was one of like the sturdiest tanks I've ever healed. Like it was an easy week for healers, mind you. But yeah, that was like super chill. Like I was just chilling the entire run. I didn't have to stress at all. So
this was the prior week, the last tyrannical.
Yeah. It was a super easy week. It was like raging and,
that was
and quaking or whatever. Yeah, it was super easy. No, it wasn't quaking, but you know what? Yeah.
No, I've been healing some bear tank, and I've noticed you can pretty much ignore them a lot and kind of focus on everybody else.
Yeah.
But
and they look fun too. Like if you watch like Dorky Bear, he does a thing where he puts the trees down, or someone puts like some sort of root down, right, and then he pops Heart of the Wild, and then Moomkin weaves. That stuff looks fun, man.
Which that was something I needed to correct from last week. Was the bears can't put the trees down themselves?
Right.
They got to get somebody else to do it, which I did pick it up myself this week.
Okay.
On Boomkin when I was Boomkin, because I did heal her a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we utilized it some tonight, but we haven't really practiced too much, and that's what I kind of want to do this next coming week is get her to practice popping out the old Heart of the Wild convoke combo there.
Yeah,
because it is nasty and can be pretty interesting. Because I'm curious, you can pop a Starfall and then go back into bear form, just start falling everything as well. So
yeah, you could you could do like Moonfire and that kind of stuff to like aggro stuff. And I don't know, overall damage for tanks, it's nice in lower keys, but I would say anything like 15 and below, it's not like essential, right? Once you start getting into like the 17, 18, 19 keys, like it really starts to make a difference if your tank and your healer are putting out some decent damage.
Yeah, and that's been something I've been trying to work on, is trying to weave in some more of those convokes.
Yeah,
offensively instead of defensively. The problem is you don't get a choice in those spells, and so if people start taking damage, it's automatically going to start prioritizing healing them up. We actually had a funny thing where your boomkin from your guild, 4 shift?
Okay, yep.
Or the other guy, I can't remember which. No, it was 4 shift.
It probably was 4 shift.
And it was the other side, and the red guy that walks by himself that we pot. I forget what he does.
The mask guy.
Yeah, he spawns mirror images of himself all over the place, and he enrages.
Oh, did he convoke it?
He convoked to burn the guy down, and
the mask or something.
Yeah, and I look at the healing meters, and the dude just took off on the healing meter. I'm like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it converted all his to healing, which was unfortunate for him. Good for me, but
that's funny. I was actually running keys all week with both him and the other boomkin, Sarakill. I was running with both of them. We were doing like mist and stuff like that, and it was kind of entertaining watching them because we were doing like the butterfly boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like immediately as they convoke, a fox would spawn, and the fox would just get freaking nuked from orbit instead of the boss.
You could hear it in his voice too.
Yeah,
as soon as he said it, like
really.
Yeah. But I feel like it's a great spell convoke. And I feel like that's a fair trade-off because you got to be smart about when you pop it. Same thing in arena. You got to kind of set it up, make sure interrupts are down and things, and then pop it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you just got to make sure you won't get interrupted and people aren't gonna go around a wall. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's got some. I think it's got some fair play to it. To be honest with you, I know a lot of people complain about it and cry a lot about it, but I feel like it's pretty fair.
yeah, you have to have a really fast reaction time. I don't know. I think if it were just a little bit slower, I'd be more happy as the receiving end of it. It's not fun getting hit by like the entire arsenal within a second. So I don't know. That's just me.
It does keep you on your toes. So it's like, all right, there's a boomkin, there's a boomkin, there's a
Yep.
boom. All right, now he's casting it, you know.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And but yeah, I know. I just heard it in his voice, and I was just like, oh my goodness, the thing just took off on the healing meters because he just topped everybody off, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. I read a lot of dungeon with those guys this week with like different comps and stuff like that too. We had a lot of fun, a lot of interesting dungeons, and I probably could literally spend the entire hour just talking about stories of our
I
runs.
Yeah, I actually did not get to run too many this week because I
Right.
ended up taking a vacation for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I came back and we got some good ones in. I don't even know if I really ran much during the actual week, but I think I did most of mine Sunday night and then tonight.
Okay. How's your vault
Um,
looking?
on the Hunter is probably looking pretty good because I got some in with them with the Canadians, and then I got some in with you.
Yep.
So I probably got two choices as far as like the 14 up 226.
Yep.
The boomkin, the
Well,
druid.
it is a Boomkin right now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probably got about the same. I think the mage got a little neglected this week, but it is what it is. I'm not too worried about the mage because starting tomorrow, anything I can then start pushing keys with the mage and getting gear and using the valor to boost it up because I do have KSM and they said that it is account wide now, so I'll be able to
Yeah.
boost gear all the way up.
Well, did they confirm that? Because we saw that it was like a Chinese Q&A um, where they had answered that question, and you don't really know, right? They might have a different system for them.
You know, you are absolutely right. That was a Chinese Q&A, so I'm kind of hoping because like the first like response to that was, why is this not on English speaking sites yet? Um, I don't know. I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed that I'll be able to boost the mage up.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not really
but
looking
they
forward to the Valor system. I don't think it's gonna be all that impactful for point zero, point 0.5. I think point 1 is where it's gonna be really nice to have that system, but I don't know right now. I think most people have most of their characters fairly geared. It's kind of whatever. And I think it's gonna take way longer than people think to actually get those Valor points.
well they put out the prices today, and the two handers are way expensive.
Yeah, of course.
Um, the necks and things are pretty cheap, and it kind of tiers up from there down to the two hander. But they did boost up how much you can hold on you. Originally, it was you had a 5K max for this week,
Yeah, it was 5K and you could only hold 1250, and they boosted it up to like 8,000 something max, right?
8,750.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot. So I guess you're going to be able to acquire quite a bit per run. I don't know if I've actually seen the numbers, how many you get per dungeon, and I would guess it would scale, right? Like
Well,
a higher dungeon should give you more valor, right?
I cannot answer at all, but I can say that they did put in. I read today that callings will now give valor
Hmm.
as well,
Yeah,
so it's actually worth going out and doing those callings again, which is fantastic. Because I was just neglecting the crap out of them. I didn't even care.
yeah,
Um,
and I think so. I think tomorrow is where the conduits change too, right? And so I think you get those from the raid now, which will be super nice because I haven't farmed Stygia for any of those, and that would be huge. Like on my disc priest specifically, I haven't
uh,
upgraded like any of those conduits.
that'll be good as well. I am not sure if that's tomorrow. I would assume so. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But
Yeah.
then again, Blizzard doesn't always make sense. So
Yeah.
I'll have to see about that one. But I am personally excited because my alts aren't in the 220 range. So that's not on the system itself. I think the system has been pretty good so far. It's just my playtime has been really low this expansion.
Yeah.
So I'm excited personally because I did get KSM. So I'm hoping that You get me worried about it now. Now, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that it's not going to happen that way. But
I think it will. I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like you're gonna have to run a lot of dungeons anyways, right, to get the valor.
yeah,
And so I don't see why they restrict that. You know, if you're
yeah,
good enough to get KSM, there's no reason why you can't gear your alt, you know, just to do higher dungeons, right?
right. The all can have the mount. You can ride around the mount and have the achievement. So I'm hoping it goes that way. So I can start doing some dungeons and kind of start targeting some pieces on the mage and gearing up. Because what I've got right now is a lot of PvP and a lot of renown gear, boosted up as high as I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of hovering just shy of that 200 mark on the mage,
Okay.
which, to the game's credit, I've not put in that much time. So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, my rogue that I leveled like week 1 of the expansion, I think is still sitting at like 194 or something like that. So I
Yeah.
think you're doing better than me.
Yeah, I'm like 197, maybe 198, somewhere in there. Um, but, I'm not too worried about the mage right now. It feels more of a fun character, do something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I were to level another one, though, I think I would do a shaman.
You think so?
Yeah, I really kind of miss playing that class.
Oh, you'd probably go in Hanson, right?
You know, I love Enhance, and I probably would have said that until maybe a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really, really, really digging Elemental.
Yeah.
It's in a good spot, and I will say back a couple expansions ago when they redid Elemental, I
Mm-hmm.
love the theme of the class. They get in there and they start casting all their spells and they do their rotation. It sounds like an actual thunderstorm.
Yeah.
They made it really cool thematically. But now you actually have some good numbers coming out of the shamans, and they got the utility, that lightning lasso and stuff in PvP. Um,
It's kind of funny you talk about that. We haven't actually had like a monk in our raid in a while. And I was the monk, right? But then we lost a couple of healers and we needed healers, so I ended up going Disc Priest. But we haven't
right.
actually had a monk in the guild in a while. And someone earlier this week mentioned, like, what's that sound? Is that the monk? Because I was playing a monk for a fight. And everyone's like, yeah, that's what a monk sounds like. That's cool. Yeah. we just had like 5 monks in the guild at one point, and then we didn't have any monks, and no one's heard like the actual animation, like, you
Like
know,
karate kicks
yeah,
landing.
the karate kicks and all that kind of stuff coming out of the monk. And that was just funny when you said the shamans had cool sound effects. Like, I've really been listening for like the monk sound effects this week.
That's pretty good. Something else that will happen this coming week is the renown. You're going to max that out and get your titles.
Yep.
If you are, up to date with your renown, if you're currently at what 38,
Yeah.
you'll get 30.
Yeah, if you
Go
had
ahead.
if you had leveled or if you had kept up with it, yeah, you should be at 38 right now. So as of
And
tomorrow,
so,
you can cap it.
yeah, you'll get 39 and 40, and so that means you'll be getting the title, kind of maxed out the whole covenant for 9.0, and I'm assuming they're going to use that as kind of like one of the quotas for flying, probably. You think?
Uh, I don't know. I think they're kind of straying away from the last couple of expansions where they've gated it behind something, and I think people generally don't like that. And so I don't know. Maybe they will gate it behind renown, but it seems kind of
I
weird that you get like one character up to 50 or whatever they put it behind 75 or whatever. Because I assume the renown cap will go up at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, but at some point it'll probably go up, right? Maybe in 9.1,
I'm assuming 9.1. Yeah, it'll go up.
because 9.1 is flying. They've already confirmed that. So
Yeah, so I'm hoping.
maybe, yeah, maybe,
I, I'm. I would rather just be able to go and buy it any day,
yeah.
but because that's how it was in Wrath of the Lich King, and I believe that's how it was in BC.
Hmm.
You hit max level and you can go get it. Um, I was not a big fan of having to go and do all the grinding. I did go do it in BFA. I did not do it in Legion, but everybody else did. So I was that guy that was having to get carried around on the back of the mounts. Um,
Yeah, I think I was too. I remember giving away a couple of those mounts because the Traveler Tundra, or is that what it's called? There was like
uh,
a version of the repair vendor mount, but it was like a 3-seater, right? And it was gated in VOA, which was the raid that you had to do by winning Wintergrass.
Oh, right.
And I remember giving away a couple of those, and like people were notorious for like ninjaing loot back then.
Yeah.
And so I remember giving a couple of those away, and people like whispering me like, "You better not ninja this." But yeah, that was like a super cool mount to have back then. To be able to carry your friends around because like there wasn't anything like that. So
And now you got the flying ones. I know two of them were from Refer a Friend. I
yeah,
got the
I've got both
rocket
of those. Yeah, I've got both of
and
those.
the cat, the black cat with the wings or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Nighthawk or whatever it's called. Yeah, that thing's
I don't
cool.
know what it's called, but yeah, so you can carry your buddies, and then you can also get the vial. But yeah, I was having to get toted around everywhere in Legion, which I guess they made it available because I can now fly there.
Okay,
They,
I don't
they,
know.
I've gone back to that content since then and been able to fly, which was like I never did this. So
I think I'm missing like the last 2 or 3 expansions for flying because they gated it behind rep in each one, and I like refuse to grind rep. Like even now, the only character I have maxed out in the Maw is my Demon Hunter, and the other two are like the ones that actually get like raid time, right? So those are the ones that your guild would expect you to max out, right, and get like the sockets and everything. Dude, I haven't even touched it. I think they're both like friendly right now, or whatever the equivalent is.
I went into the mall one time on my hunter
Yeah,
after going so hard, not missing a single day on my druid.
yeah,
And the druid can go travel for him. And I went in there one time with a hunter, and I'm like, this sucks. No, I'm not doing
yeah.
it.
Exactly. It's
And
like,
I have not touched it ever since. So I go in every week, like just to the entrance and like to the little stand there between the two nodes to get your souls.
uh-huh.
And that's as far as my characters get into the mall.
Yeah. It's pretty funny this week. I got a really big upgrade to my characters, like all of my characters. And so I think this is probably the key to my success this week in Mythic Plus. So if you ever notice those characters running around like Orbos, they have like the rainbows behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got that this week. So my buddy Fire was in Dalaran. He's like, "Oh, the NPC is up," and there's like smoke under the NPC, which is indicative that it's about to disappear. And so you can only pick up this item, at I guess it's random times. And so he flagged me over, and I took out a 250k loan from him and bought this item like on the spot. Dude, I macroed it to like every character I have, like any kind of movement speed stuff. It looks awesome now.
The prismatic bubble, is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah, dude, that thing is sick though. It makes you feel like a high elo or high IO player though, like flying in as a demon hunter and having like this giant rainbow trail hovering behind you.
Which is funny because I remember watching your monk, I think was spinning around
Yeah.
while we were DPSing, and I was looking over like, is that a rainbow going around? You're just kind of like spinning around in circles, doing your little, I don't know, when you're spinning kicks or something. And but yeah, that was a little prismatic bubble doing that, which is crazy. It's 250k still.
Yeah, I think it's crazy expensive, but it's totally worth it. Like big upgrade, you'll play like 100 times better with it. So
You get like a 10k DPS increase.
oh, absolutely, yeah, at least 10k.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna have to look into that then, because I'm kind of hurting when I'm trying out Boomkin now.
yeah, but I mean, if you ever go tank, you have to have that. If you're gonna fly in.
Oh yeah, do the bear charge in with a rainbow
Yep.
coming right out your ass.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I have to look into that.
makes you tankier. So very
Okay.
very exciting. But this week, are you excited about anything in particular?
Just mythics. We're starting it, so I'll have to report back and tell you how we did. Um, to be quite honest, I'm thinking Shriekwing will go down, and we're probably going to struggle on Huntsman. But
Yeah. How many immunities do you guys have in your raid? Like how many hunters and paladins actually count for 2 because they can bop someone else and then they can immune themselves, and then you have what? Mages can immune. It's a couple good tricks like that. Like,
2.
I don't know if you know the strat or not, but
I mean, you have to think about it. I'm thinking of 10 raiders because we don't have enough.
right.
We're gonna have to pug. We have one hunter. I don't think we have a mage right now. I don't think we have anything else really.
Ooh.
I'm not sure what Arc is planning on playing him,
Uh-huh.
but he does have the paladin. Our other paladin healer that was there all the way through Heroic Sire he disappeared.
Yeah.
And he's been logged in. And he's had a weird bug. He's online in the guild, but you click on him, he's technically nowhere. Like it tells you what zone they're in and whatnot.
Oh, that's weird.
He doesn't have that, and you try whispering him, nothing pops up. So we don't know what's up with him, but if he comes back to start raiding again, we'll actually have another immunity there. So
Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool.
Well, a good tip for that, if you don't have many immunities, is to, well, you could do two different things, right? You could have your people actually soak the Sin Seekers instead of just immuning. But if you do happen to have two hunters, you can have them immune the first one, and with the way the spell queuing typically works, is it can immune the first and the third Sin Seeker, and so you kind of get like double value out of them. So if you happen to have two hunters, definitely recommend that.
I'll just tell him I'm going to bring my hunter instead of the
There you go.
druid.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, that does drop the 226 weapon for hunters. So I mean that would technically be worth
the dream.
Yep.
I did dodge. I have dodged every single week the Russian roulette with the Great Vault, my druid.
Yep.
I think I'm going to have two choices this week, so I'm actually kind of ending the Russian roulette a little bit. But I've had one choice for like 4 weeks in a row, and each week it's been an upgrade. And this week I actually survived it again I got the same exact staff. Excuse me. Had a 216 I got like at the beginning of the expansion.
Yep.
Same exact staff, 226. So dodged another week.
Yeah, that's no good. I kind of got screwed this week. I had my priest technically went from a 220 to a 226, but it had bad stats, and so I'm not wearing it. And that was like the one I was excited for last week because it was the first time we had done 3 mythic bosses. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get something sick out of the raid, dude. I didn't get jack.
Come on, man. You got like 8 pieces last week of 226 mythic.
Yeah, it's not hurting, but I mean, like, I thought I'd get something. I had a couple choices, and I had like a new raid slot that I could get something from, and yeah, I didn't get anything. But the monk is kind of funny because I was complaining a couple of weeks ago how I got a 226 polearm that was a huge DPS sim loss. But now I think I'm gonna go brewmaster. So
you kept that thing, right?
Yeah. So I've got a 226 weapon. So I think I'm set up there.
Okay, well, you actually you got a head start. That's the only thing kind of keeping me from trying out bears. Kind of dreading having to change my loot up and try to get some weapons out.
Yeah, the trinkets are kind of awkward too. Like a lot of people right now are running DPS trinkets. I don't know about bears specifically, probably not, but people are trying to get more overall damage, and so typically they run like the trinket from what is that? Sun King. Mm-hmm. So it gives you like the cheat death, right? They run that, and then like the other one is typically the scale from the other side, but if not, it is like a big DPS trinket.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I need to get those on my monk as well now. I think I'll start targeting those and maybe try to get some IO on the monk as a brewmaster.
Well, they're always really good because of the entire stagger mechanic, and they seem to get more and more benefit the longer expansion goes on. So
yeah, I don't think it'll be a big learning curve because I did play one. I remember specifically playing, or rather doing Court of Stars. So whichever expansion that was.
Legion.
Was that Legion? That was one of my favorite dungeons, actually. Kind of a side note there, but yeah, I remember playing Brewmaster and really, really enjoying it back then. So,
well, that anything different for you this week? You're still going to be progressing on Darkfane, right?
Yeah, and I think we had the kinks worked out on that, so we were getting her down to 30%, and we were popping one of the canisters early. And I think we're just not going to touch them. So we were empowering abilities like in a kind of an awkward progression, making it harder on ourselves. And I think we've got that worked out. So we'll do that. I'm pretty confident we'll down it as long as everyone shows up to raid. And then I think Sun King is pretty easy. In theory, I've never really seen anyone struggle with that. And so I'm hoping to be 5 of 10 next week.
I'm surprised you guys went to Darkfane before Sun King, but.
Well, we kind of looked at both of them, and this is before Sun King got nerfed. And I think Sun King was still probably the better choice. It was the easier fight. But we looked at Darkfane, and we realized there's just a Zerg strategy. It's just, you literally just straight Zerg. You run 3 healers, and you just nuke the boss down. And we're like, we can do that. And honestly, we put 1 night into it, and we probably had we put a couple more hours into it, we could have done it with our current strategy. But I think our new strategy is going to be even easier. So yeah, looking forward to the raid. Hopefully we'll get all 5 down tomorrow. Like that'd be nutty. Then I don't know what we would do after that, because I guess we would go to Artificer, next after that, but I haven't really like researched the mythic version of the fight. I know there's like more seeds and stuff like that, but I don't actually know the strategy for it. So,
Well, you got two bosses to get through before you have to worry about that. So,
yep. And
yeah.
so hopefully that'll be a good week. And next week is Tyrannical, Bolstering, Storming, and Prideful, which sounds like a pain in the butt. So I probably won't do much Mythic Plus. Storming is annoying and Bolstering is annoying. So
Yeah, we had 2 great weeks, and then bolstering is just horrible. Nothing good about that. And then storming is more annoying than I gave it credit for at first. Those little tornadoes, especially in some of those tight corridors, like I think Sanguine Depths is just going to be a no-fly zone this week for me.
well, there's a lot of dungeons like that, right? Like Sanguine Depths is a bad one. Theater of Pain is a bad one
Oh yeah,
because you use a lot of choke points in theater. I'm trying to think. Spires is kind of annoying too.
well, Spires I think is more annoying for the tyrannical part of it than the rest of it. 'Cause, I mean, the storming you actually have a little bit more room to spread out,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, bolstering is also still just no matter what, just a pain.
What's kind of like your tier list now that we've played for a couple weeks? Like, how would you rank the dungeons?
In
Maybe in
terms
terms
of
of,
from
well,
easy to hardest, or
yeah, probably in terms of easy to hardest, and then in terms of enjoyment.
I would say the easiest, and the one I actually kind of enjoy a lot, is Halls of Atonement.
Okay.
I would say that's by far the easiest. Necrotic Wake, I would say, comes in second. And we also I put a lot of time into those two, so I know them. I know their little quirks and what should be expected.
Okay.
So that may be kind of tilting me a little bit in their direction. Um, and I know a lot of people hate Theater of Pain, but we have run a crap load of that. We've run a lot of the other side, and so I would still put those higher than Sanguine Depths. Um, Spires, I really, honest to God, I've not run that in like over a month.
Okay.
So I don't know. How would you put that?
Well, I think Necrotic Wake is probably number one or two for me. I actually put Halls quite a bit lower. I think Halls is actually more difficult than people like, especially on like the tanks. I think Halls is more difficult on tanks than a lot of the other dungeons, just because of like all the bleeds, the gargons, and everything like that. And the timer on Halls, it's pretty big, but it's not as big as some of the other dungeons. Like Plaguefall, the timer is straight free. Sanguine Depths, as long as you don't wipe, the timer's super free. Necrotic Wake, the timer's super free. Halls is not really. It's, if you wipe once or twice, you're in trouble. Especially if you do like a skip, which we typically do. If you wipe and you don't have like your Bizpot backup, you're in trouble. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, Mist is kind of hit or break on the explosive week, dude. That was such a pain in the butt. But I mean, we did a 19 Mist. It didn't feel that bad. Some of the ads hit kind of hard.
every time I see a miss key, I always feel like it's free. But there are some hard points in there. Like I know in that one tyrannical week, the old patty cake boss, the little butterfly that has mirror images.
Uh huh.
Ah, that's PTSD from that run.
Well, if you miss one patty cake in anything like 17 plus, it will one shot you, like as a
Yeah,
tank.
yeah,
And
and
so,
it's rough. And then you have the fox that runs around, and so many weird little things can happen with that, such as the convoke or
mhm.
something. Like we literally have one spawn, and the one of the druids that runs with you jumped beside me, and it hit him, which chained off to me as
Yeah.
well. And it was just one of those. It was just one of those runs where it's like we each took turns scuffing it, and it was like by the time we got everybody back on the same page, it was just like we were all just exhausted.
Yeah.
So
I think
I
I
don't know
put
that.
I think I put Mist, Necrotic Wake, and Sire, yeah. Spires. Those are probably my three easiest dungeons. Like anytime I see those, I'm like, oh, that's free. Um and then I probably put Halls and Plaguefall kind of together. I think Plaguefall is super easy. But I get a little ambitious with the Plague Boars. And
I've seen that.
I think I found out this week that they're actually target capped. I don't think you can just pull literally everything into a plague borer and have it explode and kill everything at once. I think they are actually target capped to like 5 or 6 targets.
I was watching that, and I'm not 100% sure that we had all those ads within range of the plague board, but you may be right.
Yeah, that might be true, but I'm pretty sure they are also target capped. And so, yeah, I kind of learned that this week. But I think Plaguefall is super easy. Sanguine Depths, I don't love it, but I think on Tyrannical Week specifically, like a 15 Tyrannical Sanguine Depths is super easy.
I will say Necrotic Wake is one of those ones, the beginning of the expansion, I kind of thought it was cancer.
Yeah.
But the more experience I got with it and kind of figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I definitely think that one's a very, very easy dungeon now.
Yeah,
So,
that it used to be a lot harder though. I mean, they've nerfed it several times, but
yeah, but you also need everybody kind of on the same page and kind of knowing what to do because you can pick up the little weapons and orbs and things,
yeah.
and um, there's some pretty hard target requirements. Like you got to target this guy down, or you got to CC the mages on
Hmm.
that dragon boss that everybody kind of knows how to do now. At the beginning of the expansion, it was just like boom, and the healers having to pick up all the pieces off the ground. So I hated it at first, but yeah, I definitely think that one's pretty free.
Yeah. I probably should have pulled a list up because I can't think of the other dungeons, but yeah, those are probably my favorite right now, especially Necrotic Wake, dude. I love pulling that one. Like I've been doing all the spicy pulls too. Like I'm pulling the boss on top of, you know, like 2 more packs, right? I'm doing like all that kind of stuff at the beginning now. And
Oh
dude,
yeah,
it just makes it so much fun.
but where would you put the other side?
Oh yeah, that's right. The other side. I haven't had a lot of luck with that place actually. Like I did a 16 tonight, actually right before the podcast, and we actually tore it up, but that's a little unusual. I've been trying to help people get KSM in there, and I don't know what it is, but yeah, we struggle with that one.
Yeah, I was there with you for quite a few of those the other sides for
Yeah, yeah,
KSM. I think we had like a 20% success rate of getting people their KSM through that.
yeah.
And it always comes down to that Arden Wield room, that third wing,
Uh huh.
and we would have the most perfect runs up to there. Just blowing things up, timing things right, everything. And then we get to Arden Wield, and like one little mistake with those dumb birds um, can cause a huge problem. But I know we went in this week and we got your buddy KSM,
Hmm.
and the tank, the warrior tank, did such a great job kiting. We also had two druids putting down Ursals and things, and it worked out beautiful. And I was like, wow, we actually made it to this part, but I didn't say anything, so I wasn't about to jinx us.
That
Um,
was so weird having a warrior tank in Mythic Plus. I think that was literally the second warrior tank I've seen all expansion. The first one was in a Necrotic Wake, and you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. And he charged right up the middle at the beginning,
oh Lord,
and I think you were in that run. Maybe you weren't, but anyways, yeah, he charged right up the middle and like pulled like gatekeepers. He was like trying to like full clear the entire first room of Necrotic Wake, and yeah, we didn't like that guy too much. But yes,
thankfully I was not in that run. So,
oh, you weren't okay, but
but
yeah, this, yeah, Mortius yesterday. He's actually switching characters. He has a super geared DK that he's been taking on and DPSing on, and he's really good at that. But he likes the warrior, so and we like having the warrior buff in the raid.
that's what I always tanked with was warrior.
Yeah.
And last expansion BFA, that was you weren't. I mean, you're getting invited to stuff, but like the flavor of the month
Uh huh.
was definitely warrior tanks. Definitely, at least for 8.3. That whole corruption patch there was all warrior. It was great.
Yeah, I see the value in not having a warrior in higher keys because the kiting is insane, dude. Like, I went through a phase where I was kiting everything in like 15 keys, and then I got some gear and I got kind of cocky. Like, I got actually good at my character. And so I try to like face tank and do as much overall as possible. And as soon as I walk into like a 19 or 20 now, it's like, yeah, immediately I'm like snapping aggro, getting 3 seconds of damage out max, and then I'm freaking out of there, dude.
Just getting out, yeah.
Yeah, and I can't see a warrior being able to do that. So,
They got a little bit of movement, but yet their real value is being able to just plant the feet and try to mitigate it as much as possible. Because I mean that's what their whole kit is built around is that shield block. And I don't know. I've always loved warriors, and that's what I always played with tanking.
mhm.
But hopefully they can we can see some more of them.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. We are about we're an hour 10 into this episode, and I think both of us have to get up pretty early for work, earlier than usual. So I think we're gonna call it here. And is there anything you want to say before we head up for the night?
Yeah, be sure to check out the YouTube channel. On there, you can find our Discord link, and you can join our Discord server and interact directly with us. If you have anything to say, anything you want to ask, just come hang out with us a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Love to hear from you.
All right, have a good one.
All right, have a great week.